Morning, gang. All right, I'm a little shy here this morning, so if I can get this thing set up right. I got a little co-companion with me this morning. Hi, baby. Say hi.
Hi.
If you hop on, give me a what's up, gang. Hope you guys are having a great morning so far. Honey, can you see something I put on this? Ms. Ted, always appreciate watching, brother. Hope you're having a great morning. So wanted to talk to you guys today. I had a different thought in mind, but when I was leaving last night and when I came in this morning, I had pretty much the same exact conversation with two different people. And so they've gone through this before, but seen this as a commonality, just in a lot in shape or forms. Not bum telling is like that over. So, we've talked about this before, but I think it's important to just refresh this over and over and over again because, it gets us on a blueprint and gets us on a path of understanding of where we're at and where we want to take our journey and the process that we're going through. So the conversation I've had with a couple athletes at the gym the last couple of days is, hey, I've been seeing X and I want to create Y. What would be your suggestion about me going through that? And so my first question I ask them is, well, what do you want to create? Right? So usually when we're in the exercise space, we're in the wellness space, and for most of us that walk in the doors, usually it's based around, well, I want to lose weight. I want to lean out. I want to get toned. I want to get strong. I want to do X, Y, Z. And so my question is on there oftentimes, and this has changed over my time of working with people because, first off, what I used to do forever was essentially like, oh, this is what you want? Sure, you want to get lean? Like, here, follow this plan. I know it works. We'll do this. Or, like you do this. Let's do some macros or do whatever you can. What's up, Ash? And we'll be able to create that. And so what I've transitioned to more is first off, asking the question, what do you want? And I want you to really be real with yourself. What do you ultimately want for yourself? And along with that, where are you currently at? And that takes a level of you being real with yourself, you being vulnerable, you taking ownership of exactly where you are at. And that doesn't mean you're going to necessarily like where you're at, because most often than not, you probably don't like where you're at because you're opting for wanting some change, right? And so it's asking yourself those questions so you can be aware of what you ultimately want to do so you can see the path you're going on to. And literally, and this is not just the last two conversations I've had with people, but literally when I ask that question of, okay, you want X, Y, Z. Now, how does that align with Carson Lena too? How does that align with you living into the best version of yourself? When you close your eyes, when you smell, think, taste, whatever, the best, highest version of yourself, what does that look like? And I'll be honest, 99.5% of the time, I know what the answer is going to be. They usually get the look for a second, and it's the I don't know. And so the reason why I want to stress on this and the reason why I think it's so vital is without taking the proper time to think about this, because yet again, you are the one holding the paintbrush in your hand. You are the architect of your life. You are the one that has to live into these stories and the goals that we want to create ourselves. But oftentimes, what I find on that is people are living into these goals, these stories, these whatever, based off of external reasons. Yet again, in the fitness industry, oftentimes it's, I want to lose weight because of X, Y, Z. It's because I want to feel proud of myself. I want my husband to find me attractive. I want my wife to, be proud and happy for me, whatever. I want recognition for me doing these things. And oftentimes that's not coming from an intrinsic or an internal motivator. That's coming from an extrinsic outside motivator that usually tends to last for about this much time and really doesn't serve our ultimate purpose in allowing us to live into the ultimate best version of ourselves. And so the reason why I think this is absolutely vital for us is that just gets us to the starting line. So if I don't know what I ultimately want for myself, not just within the next hour, not for the next month, not for the next year, but for this big term picture for myself, not just based off of what I am physically, because that's the important thing. I also think it's important because this is where I had the last two conversations based around is in our terms here at our gym, at Surge, we look at essentially 4 components of us as human beings. We look at the physical, obviously. In the exercise, wellness, fitness realm, we deal with CrossFit methodology. We deal with that kind of stuff in the physical capacity of being able to build fitness in broad times and modal domains and be able to prepare essentially for anything and everything. But we also look at you as a human being on the mindfulness aspect. How well do your thoughts correlate with your emotions between, and how well do we connect with those things of being able to create that? Where are we spiritually? I'm not just talking about your religion, I'm talking about those things, but where are we in the aspect of your thoughts becoming your actions, of understanding that there are other things that you can create by simply just thinking it in your life. And then your emotions, your emotional standpoint that are tied between your thoughts and becoming your beliefs in those things. Essentially, those are the 4 things we look at. And when we look at and we ask people, what is the highest best self of you look like? We're talking about in the realm of that 4 things. In talking about that in the side of what in for you, not the other people around you, not society, not your friends, not your family, not whatever. But for you, what do those 4 categories elicit you being the best version of yourself? And if we can get an idea of that, if we can get a clear picture of what that person looks like, how they feel, how they smell, how they taste, how they arrive energetically into this world, now we can get to the starting point. Now we can get to okay, that's the highway route that I want to get to. It's no different than if I want to take a road trip to California. I'm in Colorado, but if I want to take, my ultimate goal is I want to get to California. But I don't know if it's west of me. I don't know what's north of me. I don't know if it's east. I don't know if it's south of me. I don't know. If I don't know where that is, I can't direct my path to where to go to, right? I know I want to get to California, but if I can't devise a blueprint of how to get there step by step, I'm never going to get there. If I know not to take the off-ramp when I go into Utah that's going to send me to Idaho, I'm not going to get to California. But it's the same thing in our life. Oftentimes we create these questions. I want to get toned, or I want to lose weight, or I want to do X, Y, Z. I want to get a promotion at my job. I want to be a better husband. I want to be a better dad, whatever that may be. But if I don't know the blueprint and the step-by-step process in order to get to that, I'm never going to live into that. I'm never going to create that. So it's understanding that not only do I need to see and feel and taste those things so I can know where my starting point is at, but I also need to be able to see and develop the blueprint system so I become that person. Because I think oftentimes we see, I want X, so I just have to do Y in order to get that. But really it's understanding that the distance between X and Y for some of us might be huge amount of distance. So we need to be able to find that distance and be able to circumvent and create small little itty bitty habits to fill that gap between the two of them. Because for some of us, X to Y might literally be 6 months down the road, might be a year down the road, might be for some of us 20 years down the road. But what we do in between that and the plan we go about doing that is where we get to that. And so for most of us, and I've talked about this before, it's being able to reestablish a relationship with ourselves. It's being able to reestablish that our integrity, our word with ourselves is the most vital thing that we can have with ourselves. Because most of the time, the people that we end up having conversations with is we go through I'm going to start on Monday. I'm going to go through this diet plan. I'm never going to cheat on my training ever again. I'm going to work out harder. I'm going to sleep less. I'm going to do those things. And oftentimes that doesn't come to fruition. Those things don't typically tend to happen because they don't align with our reality of life. And so what we really need to do, you guys, is understand that by me getting the blueprint, the picture of myself, that's the starting point. But from that point, what I need to do next is find the most smallest micro step I can possible to get me onto the next foot. I don't need to go and plan, if my goal is to get to California, okay, now I'm going to jump to Utah. Now I'm going to jump to Nevada. That doesn't happen. I need to get in my car first. I need to find my keys first. I need to pack my bags. I need to tie my shoes. Whatever that needs to be, I need to find that smallest step possible that literally the only way for me not to follow through with it is by me making a conscious decision not to do it. Because if I can start with that, that's starting to build the habit. It's starting to build the reputation, and it's starting to build back in the confidence of knowing what I commit to doing, I can stick to doing. Because yet again, and I think we can all relate of how many times in our life have I told myself, starting Monday, I'm going to start this. Starting Tuesday, I'm going to show up in my job on, 15 minutes early. Starting January 1st, this is going to be my year, and I'm going to commit and do 100% on point. And how many times have we done that for, a duration and all of a sudden fallen off? And then we do that over and over and over and over and over again. And before we know it, we tell ourselves those things, but really we know we're full of shit, right? But what we really need to do is be able to start with minimal, minute, small, micro promises and commitments to ourselves. But yet again, it starts with us being able to start with a vision of what that is. And if you can start with the smallest commitment, literally, I've had the conversation with two people the last 2 days of it's not based around your nutrition. It's not based around circumventing your life. It's not about creating more rules and and more basically structure. It's about creating promises that we can do, that you can stick to, that can get that ball rolling down the hill. Literally, the last two conversations have started off with either you not hitting the snooze button, literally getting up out of bed when your alarm goes off and starting at that point, day after day. We're not talking about nutrition. We're not talking about exercise. We're not talking about is you just not hitting the snooze button. The other one was literally, okay, we've got your habit. The first thing I want you to do is not look at your phone and go to your email right when you wake up in the morning. Don't do that. That's the promise that you need to do to yourself. We're not talking about your macros. We're not talking about your nutrition. We're not talking about you exercising 3 times a day. We're not talking about any of those things. We're talking about the thing the smallest promise that you can do for yourself to show yourself that your word, your handshake to yourself is your bond and that you can commit to that. Because I promise you guys, if you can teach yourself that your word is your bond and at the smallest commitment, if you can do that, that will lead into a little bit bigger commitment. That will lead into a little bit bigger commitment. And before you know it, now that commitment, now we're starting to talk about your nutrition. Now we're starting to talk about your life habits. Now we're talking about the bigger picture of the things that is going to yield you getting into that. But if your foundation is cracked because your word, your promise, those things aren't able to keep to yourself, that foundation is going to crack over and over and over. And we constantly need to be fixing and refining that as opposed to building that foundation stronger every single time. But before we start that, we need to get a clear-cut vision of what is that vision for you. For you, not your outside sources, not whatever. For you, feeling inside your body of the highest, best version of yourself. When you look into the mirror, what makes you feel good? Not based off of, I want a 6-pack because I'm going to feel good. Not based off of, I want 20-inch arms. Not based off of you're a physical outside aspect. Yes, that there are components of that, but who do you arrive as a person? What is the energy you're bringing to this world? And what are the others around you feeling from that? Because I promise, if you can feel into the 4 things, physical, mindfulness, emotional, and spiritual, and we can get the best version of yourself into those things and do the small steps every single day, the big steps will take care of themselves. We just need to work on those small itty-bitty micro steps. So I encourage you today, you guys, if you haven't, today, tomorrow, whatever, go for a walk this weekend. If you ask yourself, if I asked you that question of what does the highest, best version of you look like, and you get the I don't know answer, I highly encourage yourself to take some time to look into that, to feel into that. And if your answer comes back of, I'm never going to get to that person, so I don't mind to that, I hate to tell you that, but more often than not, you guys, you're probably not going to get to that person, because when you get to be that person, you're going to be looking for the next step because you've grown into that person, and that person that you get to that point is going to be wanting to grow into another version of yourself. So that is a constant evolution of growth, of learning, of that kind of things. But we got to start from step 1 and get on the right path and what road we need to get to, and becoming the person that is that type of person, not just based off of some program or some whatever that's going to be a quick Band-Aid on a bullet hole. All right, so I encourage you to ask yourself that question. And to me, it's absolutely vital because that just gets you to the starting line. And then from there, it's small micro commitments and promises to yourself. So you guys left some comments on there. I'm not able to see them right now. But if you, I'll try to get back to those. But if you got value out of this, you guys, share it. We're trying to create these habits. We're trying to get people in a different mind frame, a different thought process as far as just helping each other out through our daily practices. So if you got benefit from that, you guys, let me know what your thoughts were. Share with us with a friend, tag a friend, do whatever you guys would more than appreciate that. But overall, I hope you guys are having a great morning. Take care and appreciate you guys. Later.